Welcome to the Branding Highway podcast, where local businesses meet the community and share their unique stories. Let's hit the road with your host and voice of the podcast, Mike Sedita.
Welcome to the Branding Highway. I'm your host, Mike Sedita, and today we have the pleasure of being joined by Dr. Al Rabiana. He is the owner, doctor, occupier, practitioner at AgeX Clinics. They have two locations, one in Apollo Beach and one in Bradenton. And Al, how you doing today?
I'm doing well. Thank you for inviting me.
Oh, so glad to have you on. I know you and I have kind of worked together in the community here in Apollo Beach already. I know some of the great things you guys do, but we're gonna kind of bring it full circle and let the audience hear what you have going on and try to bring some new folks into the clinic and so you guys can help them with their needs. So with that being said, start off by just telling us, give us kind of a summary of what is AgeX Clinics. What do you guys do?
Well, AgeX Clinics is actually a new brand name we given to our division of longevity and regenerative care. It's mainly focused on prevention and treatment, implementation, and optimization of health for people who wants to make a difference in their own life. So essentially, we help people to empowering their own health journey and taking care of themselves with, multiple approaches, and from diagnostics to implementation, treatments, and follow-up, club memberships, all type of different approaches to improve overall health and focus on living longer and living healthier.
Okay, so AgeX Clinics is like the fountain of youth. Like you're a modern day Ponce de Leon here. We're trying to keep people healthy and have a longer, more vivacious life as they go longer into their retirement or old age, if you will. If I come in there, okay, so first thing we're going to do, walk me through. I'm 53. I'm a man most of the time. You're going to walk me through the door and you're going to do some diagnostic on me. You're going to do like blood work and kind of check like how I'm feeling. Am I feeling groggy? Am I sleepy? You're going to get like that diagnostic on me. And then from what I'm understanding, what you guys will do is there's no one cookie cutter approach to how to tackle a particular patient. It's all very customized.
Very, very customized, very personalized. I do believe in customization and personalization of health. And most of our health system is based on general population data, which is okay for, maybe some of the diseases that we are trying to prevent and treat, but it do not make extra benefits for most of the people. And so we like to take a person and use their own health data from age to ethnic background and family history. And then we use a multiple laboratory evaluation, including things like epigenetics. And we use enzymes quantification. We use a health track system with wearables. And then we integrate all that. Sometimes we use a something called CGM, which is a continuous glucose monitoring. And then we integrate a data onto the person, and we can predict, and at the same time we can improve the treatment protocol based on their own information.
So let me ask you this: someone coming through the door, garden variety. I know we talk about general data. Is it? And I'm just going to be kind of blunt here, are most of the people coming because they want to have additional sex drive? Is it more like aches and pains? Is it there's a huge market for health and wellness clinics that do, really like the fountain of youth, like for men, give us our vitality back. And because 50 is the new 25 at this point, with the advances in modern medicine.
Correct.
Are people generally, is it more like skin and aesthetic type stuff, or you guys don't really handle that?
We have adopted a philosophy that learned from other, people in the field, And essentially, we are looking at three main things. And we said if you really want to live longer or look younger, you have to have three good things. You have to move well. So, improving your mobility and physical activity and fitness is very essential. You have to think good. I mean, you need to improve your cognitive and sharpness, and at the same time, hopefully prevent cognitive decline. Okay, and then ultimately, but not less important, you have to look well. So yes, the aesthetic regenerative part is probably one of the last phases of the protocol, but it's as important as the other ones because at the end, if you don't look younger, you don't look good, you're probably going to feel good. You're going to feel better. So if we integrate the three aspects of that philosophy, and some people do more ones than the other ones. Not everybody's the same. Not everybody has the same goals. And at the same time, not everybody have the same beginning. Some people are healthier from beginning and the treatment, so they require less intervention. Some people require more work, more intervention, and more protocols to take it to the next level. That's our approach. Once again, it's very personalized. It's on the different situations that each person have. But we have people actually in the late 20s that the young generations start to feel more proactive, and some of them realize I don't want to wait until 40s or 50s to start this journey. I think that the sooner that we started, the better. And of course, in those people, mainly the intervention is more like a prevention thinking, health, healthy diet, exercising, and good sleeping and meditation, that type of thing.
Right.
Then later on, then we probably add some what we call genoprotectors or senolytics, which are just more like a supplements and medications that we use to help our protocols to improve these outcomes.
So it's really like get the body moving, get the brain active, and then the aesthetic part is like the third branch of it. So I'll tell you, for me, I came from, my story's a little backwards. Like you said, people start from different spaces. Like I see guys in the gym that you could tell their body frame, they have like that mesomorph body style, like where they were smaller, they put on muscle and they built up. Mm-hmm. I'm the opposite. So I was really heavy and I lost a lot of weight and then built muscle. So my body composition is different than a lot of other people I see in the gym. That stuff, I think, if you put in the effort, you can work on that stuff. The stuff that scares me the most is the cognitive stuff, because the effects of brain deterioration, I read all these things about like what's reversible, what's not reversible, what type of supplementation can be included, things like NAD and things like that are supposed to help with your not only the body feeling better, but helping with your cognitive state, your emotion, and all those different things. And then I've even seen like perimenopausal women get like that brain fog where hormone replacement therapy really stimulates them, not just the physical side of it, but the mental side of it too, where they clear that brain fog.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So the brain side of it is the scariest part.
Hormones are our main drivers. I mean, when I sometimes talk to my patients to explain to them, and I mention them, do you want to feel it the same that you used to feel when you were 20 or 30? And most of them say, yes, of course. Well, let me tell you, the big difference between you now, you're 50 or 60, and you before when you were 20 or 30 is hormones. If we can drive your hormones back to the youth level, you're going to feel better. You're going to feel probably like you used to do. They are just, oh my God, I want that. So hormones is a very essential part of all our treatments. And I think most of the people who practice, some type of wellness and health optimization, hormones is usually, the main thing that we can act on, because we know that based on scientific data, that hormones have most of the regulations of our functions, cell functions, including, the capacity to stay younger and to feel better over the years. Right. The latest on longevity medicine is not just about putting more years to your life, but it's really to put more life to your years.
Yeah.
So what we want to do, and it's not just extend your lifespan, but what we call your health span, which is probably more important. We want to be able to compress that time of chronic diseases that we all gonna have at some point. Some people have one, two. Some people unfortunately have more than that. But we want to compress it to maybe the last few years of your life, hopefully less than 5 years of your life that you're going to suffer from those chronic diseases. And the rest of the time, you're going to enjoy a very healthy, productive life that you still can go around and do whatever you like to enjoy. Part of that is, of course, sexuality. We have a very deep questionnaire about sexuality, and we want people to understand how important is intimacy and sexuality part of this journey to make you feel better and a complete, person. We also, use about community. Community living is very important. We know by, studying the so-called blue zones that a community living is one of the most important aspects that distinguish those places from the rest of the world, where people easily live up to 90s and 100 years old in those areas. So we want to people understand that it's not just about diet and exercising. There is many aspects that you actually can do to improve your life. And at the end, also, we're talking about improve humanity life, because at the end, if everybody is able to do a little bit for themselves, it's actually improving humanity life.
Yeah, I mean, like improving your life, but improving it through like an active lifestyle. I mean, that's why people retire to Florida from Minnesota and New York, because it's cold and miserable up there and they're trapped. Whereas
we don't do that, so people stay on the couch watching TV the whole day.
Right.
It's about getting active, as you say, we are in a state that we're blessed. We can fish 20, every year round. We can go around and walk and run in the parks. We have a lot of open spaces that we can enjoy. So yeah, it's about that. It's about improving, your quality of life and extending and giving you a good, healthy life, mobility, good joints, and good mental health, and you can improve your overall health. For people who like exercising and gym, we actually do a test called indirect calorimetry, which is the best test to really measure your basic metabolic rate, your VO2 max, which is the capacity of your body to extract the maximum oxygen and use it in your muscles. Because at the end, muscles is the main metabolic regulator of your body. So if you put muscle mass, like you did, you said, then you change your body, and now your body is able to use a lot of fats, not just carbohydrates. Use a lot of fats and trim your body and make you. And we know that people who put muscle mass, they're actually putting ages in their life. They live longer. We know that.
Yeah. So, you bring up a great point. I am going to definitely replay this podcast for my wife, because this is the conversation her and I have regularly. She's always been a runner. She's got a very lean body. She's thin. She's, and I keep saying to her, look, putting on muscle mass will go much further. Now, your cardiovascular health is important. We get all that part of it. But putting that muscle mass on will combat the burning of the fat. It'll do it more.
Correct.
It'll give you better muscle tone. And every time, I always say, unless you're trying to drastically lose weight, doing fasted cardio, you lose as much not as much muscle mass. I'm not scientific like that, but you're losing muscle mass within the fat burning that you're doing when you just do straight, like, fasted cardio. So explaining to her, when you are 5'9", 117 pounds, you don't need to do fasted cardio. You're not trying to lose weight. So I finally got her over right across the street, up the street from you guys at Crunch, to where she is now working with a trainer who is guiding her in the proper protein intake. I mean, she was always good at the nutrition part of it, but trying to add muscle mass on top of it.
Absolutely.
This is the joke I always loved, because I used to be a big fat guy. So it was always like, working out and getting involved in it.
Me too.
Right. So people would say to me, they'd say, 5 pounds of muscle weighs more than 5 pounds of fat. And I would say, no, 5 pounds is 5 pounds. It's the composition of the muscle versus the fat. It's just dense muscle versus sloppy fat tissue, but it's still 5 pounds. So you can put on that muscle mass. It's just how your body composition is, which I love. This stuff I could dive into all day long. And now I've got ammo from a doctor to win my argument with my wife. It's a bonus on this podcast.
No, listen, there is no question about in the last, I would say 10, 15 years, the changes in mind that, yes, aerobic and cardio is very good. We recommended about 150 to 200 minutes a week of any type of aerobic or cardio exercise for losing and maintaining weight, okay? But when you achieve your weight, yes, you do need to build up muscles. And muscles, if you build up muscles, you are actually improving your metabolism, you are reducing insulin resistance, and you are cutting something called the fat toxic syndrome. That's people like me that's still building up a little of tummy. That's the problem, because that visceral fat that we know, it makes you sick. It creates any other problems with your metabolism, like a fatty liver, pre-diabetes, diabetes, metabolic syndrome, and heart disease ultimately. So, yes, putting muscle is the best.
That visceral fat, right, if I understand it correctly, it's almost sitting, it's not just like subcutaneous fat that sits on your body, it's actually surrounding your organs. So if you don't eliminate, by creating that muscle mass, you're eliminating that visceral fat, and it's almost freeing up your organs to function more fluidly, right?
Yeah, it's actually around your organs, around all your visceral organs and in your abdominal area. And it produces something called cytokines or adipokines, which most of them are not good. They have pro-inflammatory effect, and they are directly responsible for all the changes that obesity produces besides the fat itself. So we used to think of obesity as mainly a problem with intake and expenditure of energy. Now we understand that obesity is a multifactorial disease. Many factors. Some of them we can change it, some of them we might not. But we learned that we can contribute with different treatments to help people who are dealing with obesity. By the way, I am what we call a diplomat of the American Board of Obesity Medicine. So that's one of my specialties. That was on my favorite topics. And we are able to help people from my personal experience, from dealing with overweight and obesity for years and trying different yo-yo diets that at the end doesn't work, to realize that it's a mindset. You have to put your mindset to it. Once you do it, then you start changing your body, you start feeling better.
But you're also talking about, like, there's different brand names, but you're really talking about semaglutide and tirzepatide. Like Mounjaro is the brand name for tirzepatide. They all have their brand names. Or like Ozempic is like semaglutide. But you're a proponent of those drugs to help people.
Well, we do realize and we do support the use of those drugs and other medications that are also approved for obesity, either by itself or in combination as a support. Because in reality, the science said that even when diet and exercises are the main pillars of any weight loss program, there is not enough in 80% of the people. So 80% of the person will not be able to lose significant weight by diet and exercising alone. So in those cases, we do support the use of anti-obesity medications to help them during that journey, either short-term or long-term. But at the same time, we do use what we call a comprehensive management program, not just
not just a shot. You're putting the whole program together.
Exactly. And the program contains what we call an exit plan. We say, when you cannot continue using the medication for any reason, because you develop side effects, because you lose too much weight and you don't want to keep losing weight, because you think that you're losing hair, or because it's just financially difficult, then we have a plan B to exit and try to prevent you to go back to your prior weight.
So you're transitioning. You're having almost like a step down if you need to step down on something.
We have a transition plan, yes.
So, all right, we talked for 20 minutes on the different things you offer. I could do that the whole time. I'm going to talk to you about VO2 max in a second, but tell me a little bit about your personal journey. I mean, where are you originally from? How did you get into this? I mean, you said you were a big guy too. Did you always want to be a doctor? I mean, did you want to be a fireman and we're like, this makes more money? Like, what was the plan?
That's I'm originally from Cuba. I was a very sick kid with very bad asthma. Actually, I was intubated 3 times in ICU when I was a kid. And so back then in the 70s, when I was a kid, the main treatment for asthma was prednisone, steroids.
Yeah.
So I used a lot of steroids and antibiotics when I was a kid, and they blew me off. I was really a chubby kid. I was not good at baseball or any sports. But then I spent so many days in the hospital that I started to know in medicine since I was a little kid. And I always see doctors as a big figure in my life.
Right.
And then my older sister, she's 5 years older than me. She went to med school before me. So it was another inspiration for me to follow her. And then when I graduated in medical school in Cuba, unfortunately, I had some political issues with the government there. So
You're not the only one.
Yeah, I know. I decided to run away, so I did. I went to Mexico, stayed in Mexico for a year, and then come here to America after that. And then I came in 1992. I was lucky to find a group of people that immediately helped me to start studying for my boards. Also, I was not completely oblivious to English. I knew some English from my medical career where I learned, and then I was able to use it. And by 1994, I already have passed my board exams. And then I stayed 5 years doing what we call general practitioner back in Miami. And after that, I went to Puerto Rico to complete a 3 years residency program in internal medicine. I'm board certified in internal medicine. And then I've been practicing medicine since then here in the area, initially at Lakeland, then in Brandon area and Sun City area. But anyways, after years doing internal medicine, primary care physician in this region, I realized that something is going on. You keep doing the same. It's like everybody say about the concept of insanity, that you expect a different outcome, but you keep doing the same. And then myself, I was burning out. I was gaining weight again. And then I was not exercising. I have no time. I have no energy. I get tired. Looking for a downside justification. Not
excuses. Yeah.
Yeah, excuses. And then I went to a conference for doctors like me. And I thought there was going to be more about some type of psychological, brainwashing. But no, it was very engaging. And they just essentially told me, this is what we have to do to make you change. And at the same time, you will be able to change your patients with this approach. And that's how I get in touch initially what we call functional medicine and natural medicine, things. And then I like to integrate it both. I like to integrate the conventional medicine, which use medications, and I still a believer of medications and antibiotics when you need it, and even statins when you need it. I do believe that they have a role on medical care. And then I like to integrate the functional medicine part. So I like to practice the best of both worlds.
Yeah.
And I think that I'm being successful doing it, and patients appreciate it.
Well, I'll tell you, doing these interviews and talking to a lot of people that are professionals, especially in the medical side of it, really the medical industry, especially here in the U.S., for most of the people I speak to, is because of the insurance system, not so much the medical system, but because of the insurance system, what I find is a lot of guys like you, that have all this knowledge, that realize it's not one size fits all. There could be someone who needs, medications for certain stuff versus this, for lack of a better term, concierge medical approach works really well for a lot of people because, like, to give you an example, someone self-employed who owns a business, who makes money, pays so much money to have health insurance in the current system that a lot of people start to transition and say, you know what? I'm not going to have health insurance. I'm just going to have some catastrophe insurance. If God forbid I have a heart attack and I have to be hospitalized or I have a bad accident.
That's a good way to do it.
Right. And then for all the stuff I want or need, I am going to see a doctor, and customize my health and wellness around those programs. So let me ask you a question. So, you know, you have this very diverse background, this experience of traveling and going through all this stuff. I could do a whole other episode on just being in Cuba and understanding that, because the one thing you said and all that really blows my mind is I think of like a show, like, it's going to sound stupid, but like a show like Grey's Anatomy or ER, where they have all these medical terms, and you now have to, you know, all these medical terms in Spanish, but now speaking broken English coming here, you have to now learn all these ridiculous terms in the English version of them to be able to, I'm assuming, to be able to pass your boards. That, out of all the stuff you said, blows my mind more than anything else. But I digress to say that if I asked you, pinpoint for me one of the biggest misconceptions you get, like people that come into the office, whether they think it, you know, Ozempic is a miracle drug, or hormone replacement therapy cures all, or what's the biggest thing where you're really educating a patient when they come in the door and really have to kind of have like a little call to Jesus, like, no, this isn't what you think it is, this is what it really does, type of deal?
Yeah, I think there is two things that we face it more often during consultations. And yesterday I have one case, by the way, that actually bothers me, because I say it shouldn't be like that. Number one is, you know, aging is natural and there's nothing that we can do about it. So that's one of the things that I always say. Well, you know, the getting age and chronological age is natural. We're all gonna have it, hopefully. Okay, you know, the longer that we live, the better for us. But the changes that come with aging are not mandatory. We don't have to accept all of them. And not just now, but for years, we've been, I think, fighting the changes that come with aging. And because if not, then women will never dye their hair. And they do, and I support it. You don't like to have gray hair, go ahead and
do what you want to do. Yeah.
Right? And then at the same time, I do support, you know, people who decide to have some type of facelift or botox
Plastic surgery.
You
That's
know,
their prerogative.
I think
I agree.
It helps you physically, but it helps you also spiritually. You feel better with yourself. And then we are on longevity medicine. We have come a long way and studying scientifically how can we slow down the aging process at the cellular level,
right,
and then translate that into clinical outcomes, into clinical benefits. And we can do that a lot. And I gotta tell you, people can improve their lifestyle up to a 50% sometimes and feel much better. The other aspect that sometimes bothers me, and I see a lot, is when you see, as you said, a woman in her perimenopausal age, and then she went to her gynecologist, and that's what really bothers me, that it was a gynecologist, and usually another woman, which is say, what? And then she say, oh yeah, I talked to my doctor, and she say, no, that's normal, that it will pass, that I have to use weight and be patient. I said, what? To be patient for 3-5 years suffering the symptoms? Why? We have choices now, you know. So these are the two big myths that I found in the clinical practice that I always try to explain to patients, you know, that is not true and that there is a lot that we can do about it.
So one more patient-related question, then I want to move on. But it is, if I said to you, like, garden variety patient, are you mostly seeing women? Are you mostly seeing men? What kind of age range? Is it that female 40 to 55? Is that your main patient?
Well, I would say 3-to-1, you know, pretty much that's our ratio.
Okay.
But, you know, males, we are a little bit more, and I would say, unpreoccupied for that. Most of the males, they believe it's not important and they don't care. And as far as
pride, it's a little bit of pride, I think.
The Sunday football and with beer, they are happy. But so women are a little bit more proactive. They try to be more healthy, more looking younger. And so they are more engaged in this type of practice. And but at the same time, it usually happens that we start with the women and then they are able to
Husband
convince the
comes in.
husband and bring it over, and they enroll too in the program. So that the age group, most 50s. I would say 50s is the most common age when we start to worry about aging, about honestly about dying.
Our own mortality. Yeah, our mortality kicks in.
For that, we think that we are invincible and nothing going to happen to us. But as I say, I'm seeing already, some young people in their late 20s already bringing the topic because they see, some advertising that we have in the lobby or area, and they say, hey, I want to know about this that you said about, and then you say, yeah, we can start as early as possible. Honestly, I'm trying to convince my kids to start some training programs for now. Wait until they are 40s or 50s, because it might not be late. It's never late, but the sooner the better.
It's funny is it's amazing how like the stigmatism changes off of certain stuff, because I remember, it's vaguely remember, so I'm going to probably botch the story a little bit, but probably about 25 years ago, I remember Sylvester Stallone, because Sylvester Stallone, you look at him, he's in his late 70s now, but even back then he was in his 40s, like he was still older, and he was just shredded, like Rocky 3, Rocky 4, like that time frame. And I remember him at one point, I think, getting caught in an airport with like human growth hormone. And he was interviewed after this whole thing had went down. And he basically said to the person, like, look, we as a medical society have found the fountain of youth. It's in this form. This is what it is. It'll help us live longer, healthier, happier lives long into old age than we ever did before. And and then he was like shunned. It was like, oh my God, this is terrible. All this stuff. But now it's 2025 and every other commercial on TV is a weight loss drug or some hormone replacement therapy. And we've embraced it. And you see people like I'm Gen X. I'm in that early 70s. I'm 53. I'm in that window. And my whole generation of adults are like child adults. We're all kind of older, but still have that youthful mentality. Like I look at pictures of my dad when he was my age, and he looked like he was 100. Like, but it's a different thing now. So one of the things I always like to do, especially with professionals, you got a bunch of degrees, you're obviously a really smart guy, and you do all this work. When you're not in the clinic or in one of your two clinics, which we'll get into in a second, what do you like to do for fun? Do you do family time? Do you like to go out on the boat? Do you like to fly a kite?
Yeah.
What do you do for fun?
Well, for me, the most important thing is doing things that I can do with my family, especially with my wife. And many years ago, a bunch of guys invited me to golf, and they told me about all the good things about golfing. And nothing against it, but I say, I want to take time away from my family, my kids. I want to find something that I can do with them. So we start bowling, and I love bowling.
Okay.
Bowling is the more family-oriented things, and you can really learn and get better and better. So I pretty much, think that it's about the same with golf, that people want to get better and better. With bowling, you can do the same. You can get better and better and enjoy it more. And
well, what's your average? What's your bowling average?
Well, I would say 220, 200, 230.
That's good.
I have a couple of 280s.
That's really good.
Yeah,
where do you bowl? Do you bowl over in Riverview?
I used to bowl in that one. It's been kind of not new, but been there for maybe 10, 15 years. I used to go to the Brandon one. On I think it's Oakfield on Oakfield.
Okay.
And then also we went to the one in Brandon, but close to 60, to State Road 60.
Okay.
But I used to be on a league on Wednesdays, but since I opened the second office, it's been really heavy for me. Running to office by yourself is tough. I have no time. So now on weekends, what I like to do is either fishing from my community that we live. We have a little dock, and we like to fish it from there. And sometimes bowling. I just started to get into a pickleball. I think it's a great way to make friends and to stay active.
Yeah, pickleball is like a cult. Like you see it like over on Mira Bay. They got those pickleball courts over there. I mean, everybody's playing pickleball. All right, so as we start to wrap this up, I want to take the one takeaway. Like, I know what I'm taking away from our conversation here, but what's the one thing you want listeners and viewers to see and hear that they just need to come to Ajax clinics?
Well, I would say most than anything that everybody should be worried about their own health. And when I started my practice right here in Mira Bay Plaza, that was my first office there, a small office that we installed. Our first motto that we choose, it was like this: your health, my commitment. Now, after I learned everything that I do now, I will say, and I tell to patients, say, your health, your commitment.
Yeah.
So I want people to understand that their health is in their own hands and they have to do a lot to keep it.
I mean, that's a great point. I talk about this all the time when I'm speaking with folks, like when I'm out speaking at like events and stuff. The one commodity on the planet Earth that we can never replenish is time. We could always figure out a way to dig for more oil or ion lithium batteries, or we'll keep going through the earth to get all these minerals and all the things we need. But time is not replenishable. And wouldn't you want to live whatever time you have left, whatever that is? I could walk out the door and get hit by a bus, or I could live another 50 years, whatever that is. I want to enjoy it. So why not take advantage of this? So the one thing I really got out of our conversation is the customization. So like, if I'm listening to this, if you're out there listening or watching this podcast, don't be afraid to take the first step to go into one of the clinics to meet. So Ajax clinics, there are two of them. There's one in Apollo Beach right on 41. There's another one down in Bradenton. You can call 813-751-3570 is the number. Call that number and they'll get you to where is most convenient for you on your schedule. And you can go to ajaxclinics.com. We're in the middle of, like, we're in this rebrand, right, Al?
Correct.
Like, you guys. So if you go there and you check it out, you might see something new every time you go. But we're in the process of making sure the community is aware of what you guys do. You're a staple right here in Apollo Beach, right on 41. You can't miss it. You're right by Miller Mac there.
Correct.
Right by the marijuana factory.
Medical marijuana complex.
When I first moved here, I said to my wife, I'm like, why does it smell like weed always in this same spot? And I never even noticed it. So it's right across the street. So don't go there to get a contact high. Go there to Ajax Clinics. Get your age rejuvenation. Don't miss out on calling Dr. Al, 813-751-3570. Al, thank you for taking a ride down the branding highway with us. We appreciate your time. You have an amazing holiday, and we'll catch up with you soon.
Thank you very much, and thank you everyone.
We hope you enjoyed your ride down the branding highway. This has been a 16W Media Group production. Don't forget to take the next exit at 16W. Visit 16wmediagroup.com. If you want to be part of the journey, reach out to info@16wmediagroup.com.
Let me pause this. Let's